What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. Okay, so today I'm going to do a video. I told you guys I'm going to be following up with these different Senate races. And so today we'll be taking a look at incumbent Ron Johnson. He's going to be running against Mandela Barnes. And I'm going to look at some of the polls, and then we're just going to talk a little bit about Ron Johnson and how he feels about Social Security. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. But first off, on this channel, we talk about money and retirement. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so at the end of this video, I will reveal how much I paid for the items in the open air market. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, check out the video I did yesterday. So hold off on this video right now. Just hit pause. Go over to the video that I posted yesterday, and then you can continue watching this video after. Then you can also participate in the poll that I put out yesterday. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about Ron Johnson. So he's an incumbent. This is his second term as senator. He's running for a third term, and he's running in a really tight race. We're going to look at the numbers in a minute, but I want to talk a little bit about Social Security because he sees Social Security as something that is an entitlement program. He wants to make it discretionary. So he wants Social Security. He wants Congress to look at Social Security every year to determine if Social Security should continue. Now, this is very dangerous, and I've talked about this before, but when it comes down to it, we have discretionary spending when it comes to our budget and things and other things like that, and Congress has to vote on these every year. And every year they have issues with voting on the budget or issues with voting for defense spending and things like that. So when it comes to Social Security, that would just be added to this mess that we're looking at right now, where we have threats of government shutdowns, and sometimes we actually see a government shutdown when they can't come together and figure out the budget for the next year. And so this is really dangerous to have a politician talking about this, and not only talking about it in a sense where we heard Senator Scott talking about every 5 years we should revisit Social Security. We're talking about every year, which would be a disaster for millions and millions of people that are currently receiving Social Security, because they would be stressed out every year trying to figure out what is Congress going to do with Social Security. Are they going to continue Social Security? Are they going to make cuts? What are they going to do? So it would be really, really bad for a lot of people. So Senator Ron Johnson, right now, he's running in a very, very tight race. So let's go ahead and take a look. I want to show you guys. This is an article that was posted, let's see, August 20th. So it's not that old. And it does have some pretty good information on it. Now, I'm not going to read the whole article. This is Insider, so if you guys want to check it out, you can. But it just shows you right here, Mandela Barnes. He's doing really well when it comes to this race. He's got a 7-point lead, okay, and that's according to a recent poll. And Barnes is leading, and he's not an incumbent. So Ron Johnson is the incumbent, and usually the incumbents have the advantage, especially during a midterm election, because voter turnout is not as high as it is during a presidential election. So the fact that he has a 7-point lead right now is really, it's raising eyebrows, that's for sure. Ron Johnson there's a possibility that he might lose his seat, and maybe that is why he's trying to go so extreme when it comes to Social Security. I don't know why he would, to be honest with you, because when we start looking at the breakdown of voters, the vast majority of older people vote, and we knew that, and in Wisconsin it's no different, and I'll show you that in a second. But when it comes down to it, Barnes is doing really well. He's doing really well in this race, and he has a really good possibility of winning this race in Wisconsin. Okay, so I want to take a look at, this is a Fox News poll, and the Fox News poll showing that Mandela Barnes is up 50% to Ron Johnson's 46%, and this was between August 12th and August 16th. And so let's move down a little bit further, and I want to take a look at some of this other information that we have here. So Ron Johnson, this is another poll. Ron Johnson is 47.1% to Mandela Barnes 49%, and then you have an undecided here of 3.5%. And now as we move down, this is really, really what we need to be looking at. This is really important because we're looking at the breakdown. Now, this is Wisconsin, okay? So we're looking at their breakdown. And you see at the very top there, between 18 and 24, 9.9%. That's no surprise. Younger people tend to not vote. Now, as we move up a little bit higher in age, 25 to 34, that's 12.1%. And then 35 to 44, that's 13.9%. But then when we go down here, when we're looking at 45 to 64, that's 37.5%. So that would be in the demographic of people receiving Medicare, not quite Social Security. Some people are receiving Social Security at 62, 63, 64, but the vast majority of people who are receiving Social Security would fall into the 65 plus range. And 65 plus range is 26.5%. So just looking at this, the vast majority of the voting block is coming from 45 to 64, that's 37.5%, and 65 plus, which is 26.5%. So over 50%, way over 50%, actually 60%. Let's do the math really quick. Yeah, 60% of the population in Wisconsin, they fall in that demographic of 45 and up. Okay, so that's very important for us to look at, because when it comes down to it, that is who's going to decide this race. And just looking at the things that Ron Johnson has said about Social Security, it seems like people in Wisconsin are paying attention to what he's saying, and they have issues with that. And right now, he's doing really bad in the polls. So we're going to have to follow this race. But like I said, I'm going to follow these different Senate races. And if Ron Johnson loses, I mean, it's pretty much, I won't call it a guarantee, because anything can happen when it comes to some of these other races. But if Ron Johnson were to lose his seat, well, that would obviously give Democrats more of an advantage. And if they can hold their seats, then they'll even have one more vote. So we'll be looking at 51 to 49, which would be good, because now we're looking at a situation where Senator Manchin doesn't have that same power that he used to have, and it'll have to be a tag team between Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema in order for things to not get done through reconciliation. If you're looking at reconciliation, you're going to have two senators now instead of just one senator, where we had the 50-50 breakdown in the Senate before. Now, if you have 51, it's going to be a little bit different. So if the Democrats can hold their seats and Barnes can win in Wisconsin, that's a recipe for something good for Democrats. Okay. Now, when it comes down to it, I'm not looking at the party, but I'm looking at how they feel about certain things. And when it comes to retirement, it comes to Social Security, fixed income, I think the Democrats want to move forward with expanding Social Security, where we know some Republicans want to do away with Social Security, privatize Social Security, and then some Republicans just want to basically focus on the trust fund and raise the age limit of Social Security. So you can't receive it until you're, let's say, 69 or 70, as opposed to receiving it between 66 and 67, the way that it is right now. So that's what we're looking at. I told you guys I wanted to put this video out. Ron Johnson is not doing too well in Wisconsin. We're going to have to continue following this race to see where it goes. And so I'll make sure to do some updated videos on that. So make sure you subscribe and hit the little bell notification. Okay, so now let's talk about the items that I purchased a couple of days ago. So I went to an open air market. Now, I like going to these markets because you can learn a lot about a country just by going to where they have food. You learn about different foods and things like that. I'm sure there's some of those foods on the list that you've never seen before. Some of these fruits that I mentioned you've never seen before. The cheese is very interesting. It's not my favorite, but it depends. It's not one of those cheeses that melts. It's kind of like it's almost like a feta cheese. And so it's not good on everything, but certain things, if you're eating arepas and things like that, it tastes pretty good on that. But just eating it plain, it's very, very salty, and it's not very appetizing. So the only place that I would eat it on is maybe a salad, and compare it maybe to like a blue cheese, where it's got that pungent taste. And yeah. So nonetheless, the price that I paid total was 55,000 pesos, which comes to about $12, and I think it's $12.52 is what I paid. There were a few people that were around that number, around $12 for those items. Now, understand, I got a pineapple, and that pineapple is large. I got a large avocado, a large mango. So I got some pretty good things. You saw the bag of raspberries that I got. So just looking at some of the stuff that I got, if you went to a grocery store in the U.S., you're going to pay a lot more for that. The pineapple alone is probably $3 or $4. And then when you look at a large avocado like that, that's another $3 to $4. And the mango that I had, that alone was probably, let's just say $2. And I'm just giving these roundabout numbers, but that's pretty much how much I would pay in Southern California if I were buying those same items. And that's not even everything that I got. I got some other stuff as well. So just looking at $12, that's not too bad. You would probably pay twice that much if you were in the U.S. and buying those same items. So if you guys have any questions about anything we talked about today, please let us know down below. Also hit the like button and subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.